This news program is proudly brought to you by
Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits
and Now Biscuits.
World Bank on gender gap in PNG's economic growth. Government monitors illegal fishing. And autonomous Bougainville government makes temporary appointments. Good evening. You're watching National EMTV News. I'm Grace Papiali. Thank you for joining us. The World Bank has found that there is a big gender gap in building the economy of the country. This was revealed in an economy seminar hosted by the World Bank earlier this week.
Senior country economist for PNG, Ruslan Pionkivsky, stated that the gross domestic product per capita for the country is not growing in a steady rate compared to the growth of the population.
The 3% growth on average is not enough, simply not enough. With the high population growth rate should be 6, 7, 8%. In order to achieve this objective.
He says there is a need to boost productivity in terms of the country's ability to use its given resources like the human resource. Currently, there is a big gender gap in the economy where women are not seen being actively participating in the country's economy.
If labor participation from women would be the same as for men, the longer-term GDP per capita would be 20% as high, 1/5 higher than today. Yes, so there is big economic cost of not utilizing this resource.
The World Bank has also found that too much regulations have been put on businesses. Therefore, businesses cannot create more job opportunities.
The reason for that, a number of restrictions of foreign direct investment, restrictions to how quickly certain things could be done. And this chart illustrates just one area, this area of how difficult it is to get business license and permit.
The World Bank stated that they are very optimistic to work with PNG to help the country's economic status. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
With government's plan to double the size of PNG's economy by year 2030, Minister for International Trade and Investment, Richard Maru, said Central Province has the potential and can be a major contributor to the national aspiration in growing the current economy from 115 billion kina to 200 billion kina. He said government's immediate plan is to support Central Province in planting 6,000 hectares of rice fields.
Maraperoso government has launched the medium-term development plan 4 last week, and the plan was to double the size of our economy by year 2030. Minister Maru says the current size of our economy is 115 billion kina, and government's aim is to grow GDP to 200 billion kina by 2030. He highlighted that PNG will raise about 9 billion kina as a country and borrows just under 5 billion kina, and Central Province has the potential to contribute to the National Development Plan.
Papua New Guinea produce rice at 100% less and get it on the shelf. We are importing 900 million going to 1 billion every year. Imagine if Central Province produce 100,000 hectares of rice and produce 1 billion. How many jobs? Cost of rice will come down. Everyone will do. So the government's first plan for Central Province is to put state equity into Rigo rice and plant up 6,000 hectares as soon as possible.
Minister Maru said the next plan is to work with Central Provincial Government and the National Government to set up Papua New Guinea's first downstream processing logging operations under Special Economic Zone.
And the national government to set up Papua New Guinea's first downstream processing logging operation under AZZ, so that we work towards making sure that by 2025, we no longer have any export of round blocks. The first one will be built in the Central Province.
However, he challenged the governor for Central Province, Rufina Pita, to provide electricity to all districts in the province. He confirmed to work in partnership with Central Governor for the benefit of not only Central people, but PNG as a whole.
Central has the infrastructure and the enablers more so than any other province. You got exciting opportunities. You can be $1 billion plus rice industry tomorrow if you choose to. Coconut industry if you choose to. Logging industry if you choose to. The national government is ready to back the Central Province. My ministry is ready to back you all the way.
Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
RD Corporation's RD Fishing Group President Ronald Rivera has shared the vision that they have for Papua New Guinea. Rivera made this statement yesterday while on an MOU signing with the state of Papua New Guinea for a possible joint venture. The biggest tuna cannery in Papua New Guinea has partnered with the state of Papua New Guinea to open the possibilities of tuna manufacturing in the country and to generate revenue for the country.
Every year, around 600,000 metric tons of tuna is caught in the waters of Papua New Guinea. 80% of that is exported, mainly to processing centers like in Bangkok, Thailand. Out of the 100,000 metric tons of tuna processed in Papua New Guinea, most of that is RD.
Rivera went on to share the vision his father, who is the owner of RD Corporation, had for PNG.
The vision of our RD's founder, my father, Rodrigo Rivera, is to make Papua New Guinea as the tuna capital of the world. I think 15 years ago, roughly around 15 years ago, we sold the 216-hectare land in Bidar. The purpose of that is to make Papua New Guinea as the tuna capital of the world.
The partnership will see positive impacts for Papua New Guinea's fishing industry in the space of tuna marketing. Prime Minister James Marape has announced that illegal fishing is banned in the country. He stated that shipping vessels will be highly monitored. He made this statement yesterday at the Hilton Hotel in Port Moresby. For many years, without proper facility to monitor vessels and boats entering the waters of PNG to fish illegally, has been a part past PNG governments have failed to look into. Prime Minister Marape further elaborated on this.
We have not effectively monitored them up till this point in time. So with the technology, National Fisheries Authority sourcing from Israel, and with our partnership with the U.S. Coastal Guard and access through satellite, we're now able to know how many fishing ships we have, flagged ones, and those that are unflagged, unmarked. We will now, in the next 1 or 2 years, build up capacity to ensure that we rally up to them.
The autonomous Bougainville government has made temporary appointments on 2 senior positions. These appointments were announced by the ABJ President Ismail Toro Ama on Gazette numbers 22 and 24 of 2023.
Appointments were made under Section 33A of the Bougainville Senior Appointments as amended in 2018. The Bougainville Executive Council has made temporary appointments of Stephanie Elijah as Acting Deputy Chief Secretary, Policy and Planning, and John Watmalik as the Acting Secretary for the Department of Community Government. These appointments took effect on the 30th of June 2023 and until a substantive appointment is made or these appointments are revoked by the Bougainville Executive Council or until 6 months have passed.
Lindy Suharupa, National MTV News.
National MTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National MTV News. The National Capital District Provincial Health Authority has taken steps forward to engage the National Fraud and Anti-Corruption Squad to investigate into the fraud payroll. The investigation started yesterday when the NCD-PHA management submitted a report and relevant available payroll information on the alleged fraud claim to the Fraud and Anti-Corruption Squad in Konidobu, Port Moresby.
The NCD-PHA Chief Executive Officer Dr. Stephen Yenny informed the Fraud and Anti-Corruption Directorate that his management had only been made aware of this possible fraudulent case on Tuesday, July 4th, after anomalies in the Pay 13 payroll report were identified by the Deputy Director for Corporate Services, Finance and Administration. Dr. Yenny also emphasized that current payroll updates and input of payroll data through the Alesco payroll system were currently done at access points outside of NCD-PHA as it was not set up yet at the main office. In receiving the report and request to do fraud investigations, the Office of the Directorate for National Fraud and Anti-Corruption Squad has assured NCD-PHA management that they will look into the case as a matter of urgency. Apart from investigations by the National Fraud and Anti-Corruption Squad, several other investigations have begun. These include investigations by the Department of Finance and an independent payroll auditor. Cynthia Maku, National MTV News.
A challenge affecting effective operations of the Connect PNG program include government agencies not aligning. This was expressed by the Deputy Secretary of the Department of National Planning and Monitoring.
Mentioning that an investment plan for the Connect PNG program was already in place, including the 14 corridors of the country, the Deputy Secretary Roger Kara stressed the call for government agencies to be aligned in their strategies and implementations to the Connect PNG program.
In saying this, and which I believe also our ministers and the Prime Minister have been mentioning in a couple of their forums, that the relevant agencies of the government need to align themselves. And this is work still in progress because based on the experience of the last year or so, we at the national government level are still finding it difficult to convince our agencies to align in their planning processes. And I think that is one of the difficulties that we're having and issues. And when it is a call in government, it is a call in government. The G2G elements of working togetherness must ensure that we come together. But when agencies who are responsible for this program call up for participation, we need to do that. And I think this is a big issue that has been flagged as well. We need to work together as government agencies to make sure that we are all working in unison.
Thanking the NEC and donor agencies for financial assistance thus far, he said his department encouraged alignment process to take place initially for the agencies. He called on stronger leadership and ownership to eventuate at a higher level at this point and believe government agencies being aligned to the program and to the fourth medium-term development plan will achieve this.
We missed out on a lot of support over the last 5 years to gain, in order for us to gain traction. We need that push politically to be able to increase funding for us as a program. To gain that, to gain or to speed up on the momentum that we need to have under this program. So another request also is for all our agencies and our partners to have their collaborations or have their discussions with the leaders to ensure that we get the right type of support at a much higher level than what we are currently experiencing.
He made these remarks yesterday at the high-level seminar workshop on Connect PNG policy coordination and monitoring around the theme, improving connectivity across rural PNG through policy coordination and monitoring. Natasha Ovoy, National EMTV News.
Police barracks are meant for families only, and outsiders are not allowed to reside there or carry out other social activities in the barracks. Children who reach 18 years of age and above should not stay with their parents at the police barracks, but must move out of the barracks and live independently. This was alluded to by the NCD Governor, Powers Pakop.
NCD Metropolitan Superintendent Silva Sika confirmed that their ethics in the barracks and discipline forces have been dropped to the worst. He highlighted that so many illegal activities are happening in the barracks, but the well-being of policemen and women with their children is very important.
So many people just living in here, and so many illegal activities in the barracks, but also it's very important and paramount that our well-being, safety and welfare of our spouses and children is very, very important. We do have issues in the barracks in terms of infrastructure, so but that is beyond that's a policy message. I can't talk about it, but we can only do what we can.
A resident at Gordon's Police Barracks raised a concern that they don't have proper fencing to protect the vicinity of the barracks.
Sala barracks ya bayi luki mol sem. Bonem pickpocket online is abokim lo barracks boy market lo Gordons. All is aroni come inside. So all is a mix around. You know not tell us which one and picking niblo policeman and which one all man all pickpocket line. So all police can blow me plow is aroni moli come inside lo barracks. And then they mix around here na. All is a get away want them this idea blong ole. Even boy. Police is stopping all knock and salim boy. Run time and firing tear gas, all Ronnie come inside the market, inside the barracks.
National Capital District Commission is also helping the policemen and women who provide vital service to the city and the country, trying their best to keep our cities and communities around the country safe and peaceful. Governor Powers Pakop urged the general public to work with police and help them to deliver policing services to the highest standards.
The barracks here, and by belong all policemen na meritas all. You know, public lo come in, you go in and out. So this is something I will work with the Metsup to put in place a mechanism where public, you want to come and visit your relatives in the barracks. Maybe we give you 1 hour, that's all. Now you come, now you go. You like working mocha, or you like working some kind compensation, or you like work by Mary or by man or by Mwenem. You go walking along some lab, unagi ovoli stabo, some kind Wenemia, Boulevard stabo.
His biggest goal as a governor is to mobilize and inspire all communities to come together and embrace their vision to have a clean, safe, and healthy city. Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
Innocent families are homeless after a fight broke out by youths of Iwai and Bindari villages in Orobei LLG of the Northern Province. Orobei's local-level government disaster officer, Peter Pawae, says since the fight, families have been living out in the cold as all their houses and properties have been completely destroyed.
Iwaye and Bindari are neighboring villages on the coast of Orobei. They are somewhat related villages. However, on the 4th of July, an ugly fight erupted, causing houses to be burnt with properties of innocent families destroyed completely. According to Peter Pawai, the disaster officer who is currently in Iwaye village, the elderly are most affected as they are forced to sleep out in the cold. The fight resulted from youths heavily intoxicated with homebrew, commonly known in the province as Eveka, after a gathering in Iwaye village. EMTV News understands police officers have been deployed to the area and are maintaining visibility. However, no arrests have been made as yet. Meantime, families are slowly gathering what's left of their houses in an attempt to rebuild their lives yet again. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. Moving to overseas news now, and the mercenaries from the notorious Wagner Group have arrived in Belarus and started training Belarusian military.
It is still significant that leading into the weekend we have had this news that Wagner forces have now arrived there. There'd been almost no sign of them since they were offered a kind of refuge there after their leader Yevgeny Prigozhin staged a failed mutiny last month, and there were questions over whether the deal was even still on. But a video put out on Belarusian TV suggests that they are there and they've started training the Belarusian military too. And certainly Ukraine and its NATO partners will be closely watching, because any build-up of Wagner fighters near their borders represents a certain security threat. As for their leader, well, there's been very little sign of him either, apart from this picture which is leaked of him sitting in his undies in a tent, apparently in Belarus, but nobody can say for sure where or when this was taken. Whether this was a further attempt to discredit and embarrass him, we don't know either, but the Kremlin does appear to be driving a wedge between him and his fighters. In Russia on Friday, Putin was quoted in a newspaper saying that in the wake of the failed uprising, he had offered Wagner fighters the chance to stay on serving under a commander known as Sedoy, and that many had agreed to that, but that Prigozhin had stood in the way of it, essentially trying to scupper that deal.
The International Criminal Court has begun an investigation into allegations of war crimes in Sudan.
Killed in their own home, 11 members of one family. This video was posted by Sudan's health ministry 2 weeks ago. It described an airstrike on a neighborhood near Khartoum. The war between Sudan's rival military forces has brought endless misery and death to its people. As fighting continues, reports of abuses mount. Many of the victims are women and girls. More and more are being sexually assaulted. Most have said their rapists belong to the paramilitary RSF, which is fighting the army.
Gender-based violence.
Suleyma Ishaq Al-Khalifa heads the government unit that monitors violence against women.
What is happening is massive and very much underreported. And there's a lot of targeting of children. Sometimes they're using this for actually to make people evacuate their own houses. Sometimes it happens when they're targeting young girls from specific African ethnicity.
The RSF denies that it sanctions rape. It promotes itself as a protector of women in slickly produced videos that show it aiding civilians.
The head of union representing thousands of American actors that their strike will result in victory.
For the first time in 6 decades, actors have joined screenwriters in a dual strike, with picket lines forming outside studios and streaming services in Los Angeles and New York. Writers walked off the job in May. Now actors have joined them, raising concerns about pay and the potential for artificial intelligence to duplicate their voices and likenesses.
What is decided in this strike and this negotiation is going to impact everybody. And if we don't take control of this situation from these greedy megalomaniacs, we are all going to be in threat of losing our livelihoods.
Hollywood actor Kevin Spacey has denied sexual assault accusations laid against him dating back to 2001.
Well, this courthouse is a far cry from the sets and stages where the Oscar winner found fame. But inside London's Southwark Crown Court, the jury saw glimpses of the confident film star that the world saw on screen as Kevin Spacey's version of events were put to the test. The 63-year-old is facing 12 sexual offence charges relating to 4 men, which he denies. Under cross-examination, Kevin Spacey called the prosecution's case weak and suggested his accusers may be motivated by money or due to embarrassment or regret following a consensual interaction. 3 of the 4 men alleged the actor grabbed their genitals without consent. Spacey disagreed with the prosecutor's suggestion that this was his trademark move. When asked about his relationship with one man who alleges Spacey assaulted him more than 10 times, the actor said they had a naughty relationship and that he would touch the man occasionally, but that it was in humour, it was gentle and joking. Spacey described himself as being very open about having casual, indiscriminate sexual encounters and said he had one-night stands but had also fallen in love and been loved. When asked about his power and influence and how that could affect his relationships, Spacey said he did not have a power wand that he waved to get people to go to bed with him, but also said, "I'm sure if I wanted to, I could have sex with people all the time." The actor denies any recollection of one of the alleged victims, but says he had consensual relationships with 2 of them and that he made a clumsy pass at the other. He also revealed under intense questioning that his legal team had hired private investigators for 3 of the alleged victims. The defence's case will resume when court returns next week.
National MTV News continues after the break with Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. With 2023 Pacific Games scheduled for November this year, Team PNG athletes started their preparations 2 months ago with support from the PNG Olympic Committee and the PNG Sports Foundation.
Now, with the 2023 Pacific Games scheduled for November this year, 2023, and to take place in Honiara, Solomon Islands, the PNG Olympic Committee, together with PNG High Performance and the PNG Sports Foundation, have been busy preparing and working alongside several sporting federations that will be participating in the 2023 Pacific Games in November this year. Now, currently, athletes have been training in Port Moresby, in other parts of the country, and also at the National Sports Institute in Goroka. Now, recently, several national tournaments have also been hosted in Port Moresby, such as the National Athletics Championship, where athletes have been very busy together with their federations, preparing the athletes before the 2023 Pacific Games kicks off in November this year. Godwin Eki, Trukai Sports.
PNG Boxing Union, among other sporting codes, is one code that has been in training since May this year at the Sir John Guy Stadium in Port Moresby.
Now, the PNG Boxing Union started preparing its elite athletes almost 3 months ago here at the Sir John Guy Stadium. Now, there are currently 38 fighters, both male and female, and have been here at the Sir John Guy Stadium in preparations for the 2023 Pacific Games that will take place in Honiara, Solomon Island, come November this year. Now, the 2023 Pacific Games for Team PNG athletes, particularly for the code of boxing, is also a qualifying event. Now, this event will see also New Zealand as well as Australia compete against Papua New Guinea and other countries vying for a spot in next year's Olympic Games in Paris. Godwin Eki, Trukai Sports.
PNG Kickboxing Union has received an invitation to fight abroad in USA only come August this year. President Stanley Nandex, in a recent interview, said kickboxing is slowly gaining momentum but needs more support.
PNG Kickboxing Federation has been busy preparing its elite fighters for an upcoming international bout which will take place in USA, America, come next month, August. Now, President for PNG Kickboxing Federation, Stanley Nandex, says currently PNG Kickboxing Federation is planning to take around 10 fighters, both male and female, to attend their first international bout in a long while. He says currently their main problem right now is finding sponsorship to take all PNG fighters to USA in August of this year. Godwin Eki, Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The PNG NRL competition is currently on bye and will resume its round 14 games next weekend. After next week's competition, the season will have only 3 more regular rounds to play before the grand final round.
The National Rugby League competition, after successfully completing 13 matches in the 2023 season, the competition is currently on bye for this weekend and will resume normal competitions kicking off next weekend with its round 14 matches. Now, currently the top team that's leading the competition in the 2023 season are the Enga Mayokes after successful 13 straight wins in the competition so far. Godwin Eki, Trukai Sports.
Following the Hunters' first ever visit to Lihir Island as part of the Newcrest Mines partnership to the SP PNG Hunters as the gold sponsors, the Hunters had the opportunity to visit one of the workshops in Lihir to get a first-hand view from the trainers and hear from the apprentices at the workshop. Hunters CEO said it was a great opportunity for the Hunters to also think about life after sports.
The SPPNG Hunters, apart from visiting the Lihir International School and the visitation of the processing plant site to visiting the mine pit, the SPPNG Hunters also had the opportunity to have a stopover at the Talent Learning and Technical Training Center to hear firsthand the experiences of the apprentices and the trainers in charge.
In dangerous situations.
This was an opportunity for the Hunters if they choose to do something else after sports and felt like taking other career pathways. This was an opportunity for Newcrest to provide the Hunters with job opportunities, something they can fall back on for the long run.
On-the-job training, that's where we take them here.
In-country manager Tim Bryson said as part of the sponsorship and Newcrest coming on board as a gold sponsor, it's an opportunity for the Hunters to work out their career pathways and what they choose to do after sports.
We also see as a sponsor a responsibility to help to develop the Hunters' young men professionally, and this gives them an opportunity to be able to get an experience in one of Papua New Guinea's most important industries, which is the resource sector. So in seeing that our workforce, which is almost entirely made up of Papua New Guinean professional men and women, doing the fantastic job that they do here on Lihir.
CEO for the SPPNG Hunters also shared similar sentiments, apart from thanking the Newcrest Mining Limited for coming on board as gold sponsors in 2023.
Different education streams, whether it be in rugby league, outside of rugby league. As I said, we've got a very diverse background of education levels. We've got guys that have completed grade 10 through to guys that have, undergraduate degrees. So, we want to make sure that whatever the guys are interested in, that we help them to pursue life outside of rugby league. And, coming up here, seeing what Newcrest does, seeing the diverse range of employment opportunities at Newcrest, hopefully one of the boys, took something out of it and could see themselves working in the mining industry.
Newcrest Mining Limited is looking forward to working side by side with the SPPNG Hunters moving forward into the next season and beyond. Godwin Eki, Trukai Sports.
Anitua Limited will be co-hosting the Trukai Fun Run this year as the official organizing partner on Lihir Island. Anitua Limited accepted the invite from Trukai Industries Limited to host this event on their behalf on Lihir to pursue their fundraising efforts to support KVN General Hospital.
Anitua Limited has been planning a number of fundraising initiatives to donate to the cervical cancer screening clinic at KVN General Hospital. Thus, the Trukai Fun Run is timely. while funds raised will go towards supporting Team PNG to the 2023 Pacific Games. Anitua Limited plans to donate its portion to KVN General Hospital's cervical cancer screening clinic as part of the company's efforts to continue educating staff as well as Lihirians about the importance of early detection. They are also hoping to see at least 2,000 people in their Trukai Fun Run t-shirts on Sunday 20th of August this year. Shirts are being sold at Anitua Supermarket, Anitua Corporate Services Office and on the weekends at the Lihir Sports and Social Club. Supporting the event in Lihir are Anitua Retail, NCSL, International SOS, Anitua Constructions, Anitua Transport, Lihir Police and Newcrest. For the first time, Anitua Limited is co-hosting the Trukai Fun Run in partnership with Trukai Industries Limited. Godwin Eki, Trukai Sports.
That ends Trukai Sports. The Money Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus, with you always.
And now looking at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Southern region, Port Moresby City, cool and windy. Daro, cool and windy. Kerema, mostly fine. Alatau, cool and windy. Popondetta, fine. In the Momasa region, Lay City, partly cloudy with a chance of few showers. Madang, mostly fine. Wewak, possible brief showers. Vanimo, cloudy periods with few showers. In the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, some showers and possible thunderstorms. Keveng, few overnight showers. Kokopo and Rabaul, some showers and possible thunderstorms. Kimbe, few showers. Buka, some showers and possible thunderstorms. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen City, mostly fine, then morning fog. Goroka and Kundiawa, few evening showers, then morning fog patches. Mendi and Wabeg, brief evening showers, then morning fog patches. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border to Daru to Kiwai Islands to Kerema to Yule Island to Port Moresby to Hood Point to Samarai Islands, seas 2 to 3 meters. Waters of Samarai Island to eastern and western Milne Bay Islands to Cape Vogel, seas 2 to 3 meters. Waters north of Cape Vogel to Huon Gulf to Finschhofen, seas 2 to 2.5 meters. Waters of Finschhofen through VTS Dampier Straits to Siasi Long Island to Karkar Manam Islands, seas 2.5 to 3.5 meters. Waters west of Karkar Manam Islands to Bogia to Wewak to Vanimo and northern PNG Indonesian border, seas 2 to 3 meters. Waters of Manus and its western group of islands, seas 2 to 3 meters. Waters of East New Britain to New Island to Bougainville, seas 2 to 3.5 meters. Waters of West New Britain, seas 3 to 4 meters. Coral Sea rough to patches, very rough. Southeast winds of 25 to 33 knots. Solomon Sea seas rough, southeast winds of 20 to 33 knots. Bismarck Sea seas rough becoming very rough over southern sector, southeast winds of 20 to 33 knots. Pacific Ocean seas light to moderate, southeast to west winds of 10 to 20 knots.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by Money Plus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Saturday, the 15th of July, 2023. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Good night.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.